This is yoga. So we're gonna start in a comfortable seated position. I forgot to get my block. Grab your block and your ring. If you want to, you can sit onto your block if it makes you feel a little bit more open through the hip bones, or just sit onto the floor. Start moving your head side to side. Lift the chin up if you want, and then start rolling through the shoulders. Feeling into your breath, wherever it's at right now in this moment. Just feel into it and try to take it a little bit deeper, relaxing into that breath. And then whenever you're ready, just reverse the direction of those shoulder circles. Again, feeling into that breath. And then bicycle pedal them out. So one is up, the other is down. Let your spine kind of move here. You can even kind of move your head side to side. Just groove with it. Move through your spinal fluids, waking up all those cerebral fluids. But try to stay long through your spine as you move through that. Good, and then just reverse the direction of that bicycle pedaling motion, which might feel a little bit weird, just a little bit of a brain trickery, but this is also good for your brain, making those wiring up androids and dendroids and axons, all those technical terms for the wiring of your brain. It's good to kind of switch them up a little bit. It helps strengthen your brain muscles. And then coming back to neutral, start swaying around on your seat bones. Here's where I don't think I want the block anymore. Feel free to switch it up as you go. Maybe you want the block at one time, maybe you don't. I was starting to feel a little unsteady on my block, so I just took it away. But while you're here, I want you to think about actively grounding your seat bones beneath you. And just think about a tree or any kind of plant that has roots going into the earth. Imagine that you are a plant or just any kind of being of the earth, where you are also grounded into the earth. You have invisible roots going down through the seat bones into the earth. And then if you haven't already, whenever you feel guided, just reverse the direction of that swaying motion. We're still waking up those cerebral fluids. Good. About 2 more deep breaths. We're gonna just come back to a neutral position. And we're gonna reach forward, finding a tabletop position. In the center of your mat, begin rounding and arcing. Swaying along the way, making movements along the way that feel good for you. That spine should start to feel nice and loose. And then whenever you come the next time to your rounded cat pose, stay here and then just make movements, circles around through this, drawing your belly button up towards your spine. Let's keep rounding, moving through this. About 3 more breaths here, and then we'll just go our other way. Good, and then whenever you feel guided, just go the opposite direction. Moving through this. About 3 more deep breaths here, and then we'll move it into our first down dog of the day. 3, and then rounding that spine and pressing back into a downward facing dog. You can walk your dog or just hold your dog. We're gonna stay here about 10 deep breaths. So maybe you wanna do a few walks, or maybe you wanna just alternate between staying in that neutral down dog and walking your dog. Just try to focus on keeping your back straight, fingers wide, open up through the shoulders. Just keep breathing through this. Good, 2 more deep breaths here. And on your exhalation, lower your knees down onto the ground, point your toes, and then lift up your upper body. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and then just open up through the chest as your arms come back behind you, pressing those hips forward. Try to lean back. Lean back as much as comfortable for you as you press those hips forward. We're gonna stay here 5 deep breaths, and we're gonna move it into a camel. Good, you could stay here or see if you can place your hands onto your heels or put a block there, and then just press your hips forward as you lean back. Hips go forward, chest goes back. On your exhalation, place your hands back into that tabletop position under you, and then go back into your rounding and arcing through that cat-cow. Just moving through your spine, inhaling into the belly, and exhaling into the back. Remember to make little movements along the way that feel good for you. Not just going forward and back, but also going side to side. All right, we're gonna come back into this rounded cat pose. We're gonna do that same thing that we did before, just rounding through this, and then we'll come back into the leaning the hips forward with the hands behind us. So try to remember which one of your pinkies was on the bottom. Last time, we're gonna switch it up when we come back into that binding position. And just keep rounding, moving through this. And then as you feel guided, reverse the direction of your sway with that rounded cat back. Good. And then press back into your downward facing dog, 10 breaths here. You can walk your dog or just hold it. Tuck that chin into your chest. Open up through the shoulders, breathe. Five more deep breaths. Again, make this practice your own, whether you want to walk your dog or just hold your dog, really focusing on opening those shoulders, widening the fingers, straightening up the back. And when you're ready, slowly come down onto those knees. Point your toes so the feet can just come onto the ground. Now, whatever pinky was on the bottom last time, switch it so that pinky's on the top, or opposite pinky's on the bottom. Take your hands all the way back as comfortably as possible. Lean back, press those hips forward. Lift your chin up. 5 breaths here, and we're coming back into the camel. And when you're ready, start coming into that camel position, or you can stay where you were at. 5 more deep breaths. On your exhalation, slowly bring yourself back up. Step just your right foot forward. Left foot is going to stay behind you. The left knee is onto the ground. All right, now I want you to lean forward. See if you can touch your hands to the ground and then back. If it's hard to touch your hands to the ground, you could use a block or even 2 blocks to help you, one on each side, and just lean forward and back. Whew. Breathing. Let the breath get even longer and deeper. Good, and the next time that you lean forward, stay here. See if you can stack your hands on top of that knee. And then just press your hands onto that knee for about 5 deep breaths. And then we're going to curl this back toe behind us and see if we can lift it up. But for right now, just stay here, pressing onto that leg. You should feel a stretch through the hip flexor on the on the left side. Just keep pressing your hands onto that knee. 3 more deep breaths here. Okay, now you could stay here or take it a little bit deeper, curl the toe behind you. See if you can lift up. Keep pressing onto that front leg. Or just stay where you were at before. Okay, now either stay wherever you are or lift up that left arm, that's the same arm as extended leg, to get a little bit over to the right and then to the back. Stretch fingertip to toe. 5 more deep breaths wherever you're at. Good. On the exhalation, we're slowly going to unwind, releasing the knee back to the ground, taking both knees into a tabletop position. Begin rounding and arcing, moving through that cat-cow, releasing any stored tension you might have. Good, about 3 more deep breaths. And then we're going to step the left foot forward. And then find that neutral tabletop back. Now we're going to step the left foot all the way forward. Try to place those hands under your shoulders. Use a block or 2 blocks if you need to. And then just start shifting back and forward. Feeling those hip flexors, releasing any tension. Good. About 2 more. And then we're just going to stay forward. All right, next time that you're forward, stay here. Stack those hands on top of your knee. Pressing your hands onto your leg. Hips drop down, spine lengthens up. 5 deep breaths, and then we're going to try to take it deeper by curling that back toe, or you can just stay here. Good, now either stay here or curl the toe behind you and lift up. Your feet are gonna be about hip distance apart. They're not in a balance beam type of line. They're a little bit staggered. All right, 3 more deep breaths here, and then we'll have the option to lift up the right arm. Look at something not moving, we're balancing. All right, you can stay where you're at or lift the right hand all the way up to the back and then over to the left. 5 deep breaths. And when you're ready to come down, slowly release the same way you came in. Come out, lowering the knee, pointing the toe behind you, moving back into that tabletop position, and then rounding and arcing, moving through that cat-cow. So I like to think of yoga as almost like a metaphor for life. Sometimes we're in uncomfortable positions that we have to just breathe through. And sometimes we're in nice relaxing positions, but you always have your breath to help guide you and relax you. So use that breath. Good. And the next time you come into your rounded spine, curl your toes and press back into that downward facing dog. Either walking your dog or holding your down dog. 5 deep breaths here. On your next exhalation, bend your knees, shift your weight back, and either step or jump all the way forward. With your hands, check your feet for a second that your feet are in line with your hip bones. And then place your hands onto your legs, either above or below your knees. Keep the hands there, and we're just gonna inhale, looking up, exhale, folding into it. We're gonna move with our breath a little bit here. Exhaling down, inhaling up. Every time that you exhale down, hug into those legs. Good, about 3 more deep breaths, and then we're just gonna hug into those legs. And the next time that you hug in, stay here and just breathe. About 5 deep breaths. Letting the blood drain towards your head. If you did have any heart issues, then just stay with your head a little bit higher than your heart. And if you feel okay, hug into those legs. Good, 1 more deep breath in. On your exhalation, walk your hands up just to the top of your legs. And then place your hands, the palm of your hands, right on that hinge point of the top of your legs. Round and arc through your spine. Just like you're doing a cat-cow, but you're hinged forward. Feeling a deeper stretch through your legs. But also rounding and arcing through the spine. Good, about 2 more. And then just stay hinged forward. Try to flatten out your back and as flat as you can with no round or no arc. Just a flat 90-degree tabletop back. Press into your legs. Your feet are pointed straight forward. And press like you're trying to just press your legs away from you, lengthening through your head. Breathe here. Good. 2 more deep breaths. And then we're gonna actually switch up the position of our feet. So those feet are pointed forward right now. And on your next exhalation, lower all the way down into a forward fold. And now we're gonna reposition our feet so that the feet point out to the corners of the room. Your heels are gonna point inward. Put a slight little bend in your knees. And we're going back into this breath work. Inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, folding down. Inhaling up, exhaling, folding down. Those feet are pointed out to the corners of the room. You should be feeling the stretch change just a little bit. Good. About 2 more deep breaths. And then we're gonna hug in toward those legs. Good, and the next time that you're in that forward fold, just stay here and breathe. Those toes are pointed out, heels are more together. With each exhalation, see if you can get deeper. 3 more deep breaths. All right, and now walk it up all the way to the top of your legs. And we're going back into the rounding and arcing. That low back, stretch it out when you round and arc. Good, 2 more deep breaths. And now stay with that flat tabletop back. Those toes are pointed out, heels are in, and press away from you. Good, 3 more deep breaths. And on your exhalation, point your toes back forward. Before we do, we're gonna do 1 more position, but we're just gonna take a few round and arcs up. Making sure our back is nice and stretched out. Reach the arms up, swan dive down, come down. We're just going all the way up with our breath, with our arms, and then lowering back down. Just go at your own pace, moving through the spine. Sometimes I can get a nice sternum stretch here also. Good, about 3 more. And then we're gonna come back into a forward fold position. Good, finish up that last round. And now we're gonna start positioning our feet so that the toes are more together and the heels are gonna go out to the corners of the room. All right, start lowering your hands onto your legs, anywhere that's not onto your knees, either above or below, and then move with that breath. Exhaling down, inhaling up. Now you can feel that stretch change a little bit more to the outside part of your legs. Use those hands and your breath to help deepen your stretch at your own comfort level. Good, 2 more, and then we're gonna stay in that fold. And the next time that you're in that forward fold, stay here and just breathe, hug in. Those toes are still pointed together, the heels are out. The exhalation can sink you even deeper into the stretch. Good. On your next exhalation, start walking your hands up to the top of your legs, just like we did before, but the feet position is different and it should change the feeling of the stretch. Go into those rounding and arcings of the spine, strengthening and lengthening, especially those back muscles. Good, about 2 more. And then we're just gonna stay with a flat back. Good, and then when you're ready, find that flat tabletop back. Press your hands on the top part of your legs. Those feet are positioned with the toes together, heels apart. Good, 3 more deep breaths here. Good, and then slowly just round it up. Reposition your feet so that, just walk it out. This will naturally reposition your feet in line with your hip bones. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach all the way up. Lean back, hips forward, deep breath. Exhale, now we're gonna swan dive all the way down, finding that plank line. Hold this plank line. I want you to roll your shoulders one way and the other way, and then bend the elbows, hugging the ribs, point your toes, come into that cobra or up dog. Deep breath. Exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Stay here about 5 deep breaths. You could walk your dog or just breathe through it. Good. When you're ready, bend those knees, shift your weight back, step or jump forward, and then slowly round up vertebrae by vertebrae. So you come to that tall spine, inhaling, reaching your arms up, lean back. Exhale, swan dive down. Hands come under that shoulders, finding that plank line position. Roll your shoulders one way, roll your shoulders the other way. Bend the elbows into the ribs, lower down. Point your toes, come into that cobra or up dog. And then exhaling, curling the toes into that down dog. We're gonna do that 3 more times. If you wanna go a little bit faster or slower, I like to spend a little bit of time breathing through my down dog. This is one of my favorite yoga poses because it activates all of our energy centers and gives you a nice deep stretch. Good, 1 more deep breath. And when you're ready, bend those knees, stepping or jumping forward, rounding up vertebrae by vertebrae till you come to that tall spine. Inhaling the arms up. Big deep breath here. And when you're ready, just swan diving down, finding that plank line, rolling the shoulders both ways, and then coming into that cobra position. Nice deep stretch through those abdominal muscles. And then finding your downward facing dog. Breathing here. Again, taking your time to just breathe through this and move through this if you want to. And when you're ready, bending those knees to come into your forward fold and rounding up. through the vertebrae, reaching your arms all the way up. Big deep breath through the heart center. And then coming back into the forward fold, plank position, rolling through the shoulders both ways, lowering into that cobra, stretching out through the abdominals. You can make little sways side to side if that feels good. And then when you're ready, curling those toes to find that downward facing dog position. Good, we're gonna do that one more time. Just really breathe through this. Thank your body for all of the messages that it sends you. When you're ready, stepping or jumping into that forward fold, rounding up through the spine. Inhaling, reaching the arms up. And swan diving down. Ooh. Starting to feel nice and loose. Finding that plank line. Rolling through the shoulders both ways. Lowering into that cobra or up dog. Stretching out through the abdominals. And when you're ready, finding that down dog. We'll all meet there for about 5 more deep breaths. Walking or holding the down dog. And on your next exhalation, lower the knees down onto the ground, point your toes, and find your ring, or you can also use a strap or a block here. Taking whatever prop you have straight out in front of you, or if you don't have a prop, you could bring your arms straight out in front of you. I want you to press the hips forward, lean back. Stay here. This is a really good knee strengthener. Whatever level you're at, just stay here and breathe. About 5 deep breaths. And whatever prop you have, press it together. Unless you have a resistance band and then you could resist it out. We're gonna stay here about 10 deep breaths, slowly lowering as much as comfortable for you. This is just a nice knee strengthener. Keep pressing those hips forward, lengthening through the quads. Maybe you can go back a little bit more. 5 more deep breaths. And on your exhalation, slowly bring it into a tabletop position. And bring your right knee all the way up. And your left arm, so it's opposite arm to knee. Bend and lengthen through the elbow and knee. Good. Just warming up through these joints. And now we're either just going to stay in a bent motion. If you can, catch your foot behind you and bring it up. Balance here, just looking at something, not moving in front of you. 3 more deep breaths. On your exhalation, release your hand to your foot, and now stepping that right foot all the way forward, similar to what we were doing before earlier in class. This time, instead of rocking forward and back, We're gonna rock side to side, right to left, right to left. If it's more comfortable for you to place your arm on the inside, you can place it on the inside. This is gonna give you a little bit more range of motion through your hips. Good. Now we're gonna start finding a pigeon pose. Just heel toeing the right foot over to the left side. And you could stay in your high pigeon, or you could lower down at your own comfort, your back, left leg. See if you can take it over to the right side. And then just stay here, just about 10 deep breaths. You can come onto your forearms, or you can come all the way down. Good, this is a really good stretch for our IT bands. This is also part of strengthening your knee. About 4 more deep breaths here. Relax into it. And on your exhalation, place those hands back under your shoulders. We're gonna come back into that lean back position before we do the other side. So find that prop, placing those knees in line with your hips. Take that prop right out in front of you. And then just lean back. 10 deep breaths here. At your own comfort, lean back as much as comfortably possible for you, engaging those quads. Breathe through it. Squeeze your prop. Keep pressing those hips forward. 5 more deep breaths. And on the exhalation, slowly come up, finding that tabletop position, and this time bending your left knee. And then bring your right arm up, starting with just lengthening and bending through the joints. Good, 3 more deep breaths here. And then we have that option to bind. Right, you can just stay balancing, or you could bring that arm, the right hand, to catch your left foot. And just at your own availability, bring your leg up. Look at a spot not moving. 5 deep breaths here. When you're ready, release your hand back under you. See if you can step your left foot all the way up. Remember, it can either be on the inside part of your arms or the outside for a little bit more range of motion. And then we're just going right to left. Instead of forward and back, it's right to left. Go ahead, breathe through it. Loosening up through those hips. About 2 more deep breaths, and then we're gonna just find a quick pigeon. Pigeons, I think minimum should be about 1 minute, which is about 10 breaths. But you could stay in a pigeon for like 5 minutes to really get deep into it. This was just gonna be a pretty quick one. So when you're ready, start heel toeing this left foot over to the right side. Place it down onto the ground. This back right leg is going to go over to the left. You could come onto your forearms. You could stay up high, use a block at any time if you need to. Just about 10 deep breaths here. Coming as low as you comfortably want. Good, about 5 more deep breaths. Go deeper into that stretch if you want. And on your exhalation, slowly come up, release into a tabletop position, and press back into an extended arm child's pose. Opening up through the knees, stretching out through the back, placing that forehead onto a surface. And on your next exhalation, slowly walk yourself up, cross your legs behind you, and then shift so that your legs come right out in front. Come to that center of your mat, and then just rock yourself back onto your back. Start finding a happy baby position. So you can hold on to your big toes or your feet. You could keep your knees bent, or you could straighten out the legs, just whatever's comfortable for you. Breathe, move through this, about 3 more deep breaths, and then we'll just find our Savasana. And on your next exhalation, slowly hug in those legs in toward your chest. Bring yourself into a tight little ball. See if you can bring that chin into your chest. Start squeezing all of your muscles. Squeeze even your feet, even your fists. Squeeze, squeeze for 5. Keep squeezing 4. Squeeze 3, 2, and 1. Release out into Savasana. Just let your legs and your arms go to the side. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, make a sigh. Just activating the heart chakra. Start getting nice and comfortable, feeling grounded through the hips, through the shoulders. Lengthen through the spine. Relaxing into the gravity of the earth. Feeling into your breath. Right now, just being with your breath in this moment. When you're ready, start making little movements, wiggling fingers and toes, blinking your eyes. And then bringing the knees into your chest, give yourself a big hug. And then wrapping one arm around both legs, take your legs over to one side and the other side. So just little windshield wipe motion with your legs, going one side and the other side, letting your arm help you. And the opposite arm can just come out to the side, looking the opposite direction of those legs. Just about 2 more each side, and then we're gonna end with the legs over to the right side. The next time that those legs are over to the right, lean all of your body over to the right side, and just stay here a breath or two in your seed pose where we all began. When you're ready, use that left hand to press you into a seated position, a comfortable seated position, whatever that means for you. And inhaling, reaching your arms all the way up. Stretch even those fingers. Deep breath. Exhale into your heart center, your thumbs to your heart. Namaste.